Hello, everyone. I'm Lynne from Run It Back, here with the champions of the most recent Game Changers Academy series, Polaris. Polaris, welcome and congrats on your dominating performance.
Thank you.
Hi, thank you.
So, for those out there that don't know your team, do you mind introducing your team? Maybe sharing with us some of the history of your team and briefly the roles that you all play?
Sure. My name is Zoe. I am the IGL Sentinel and controller for the team. Kind of a flex. Um, yeah, I'll go down the list. Starlight can go next.
I'm Starlight. I also flex controller and sentinel, but I'm usually playing controller, but I do flex. I do a lot of setting up the team and I mid-round IGL a lot. So yeah.
I'm Shaka. I play initiator for the team.
I'm Kat. I also do some IGLing too, and mid-round calls. I am the main duelist and opper of the team.
Great. And could you share a little bit of history of like how you all found each other or what made you all want to be a team?
Yeah. So I made this team back in early September. 3 weeks before the last Game Changers event took place. I wanted to start a team with the Slays and I. And what we did was we brought in some people who we saw on Twitter or got from other sources of regents who also wanted to join the team. So we ended up finding, obviously, it was myself, Slays, Luna, who's not here right now, um, Starlight, and Contriggered. And basically, the whole point of the team um, pretty much was to make top 8. We all know we're good enough to be signed and want to play at the professional level. And that was the goal. So I said, hey guys, stick with me, put in the work. We'll make top 8 easy. And we did for the most part. We obviously ran into a hiccup in the middle of the tournament. So we ended up swapping out after the tournament was done. Slays or rather Shaka for Slays. And we've been kind of trucking on since.
Yeah, I remember when the news came out about you all just making a roster. I was like, man, these are just a bunch of cracked players. You all have so much experience with other teams, and I can only imagine what you all would be able to do together. And you've all been performing quite well. So, so you did mention that there was a hiccup during that first tournament. I was wondering kind of what your team was able to do to overcome that hiccup.
Um, yeah, so obviously Slays ended up getting caught for busing. Um, and Riot came out with the whole, report about it with the receipts. And when we first heard about her being, banned from the event, we were kind of in shock and kind of in denial to an extent because you know, we trusted our teammate. That she was, this was, not right. But as soon as that came out with the actual facts, there was just no chance we were going to end up playing with her again, and we, for the most part, kind of felt betrayed in a sense. It was kind of just like really, really crappy what she did to us. So we ended up, finding a sub who was Katie at the time, and just kind of going with what we had. A couple days of practice is all we could do, and we did our best. We bottomed out, but we still made top 8, and we're still, something to be proud of. Um, and since then, again, we brought in Shaka, and has been a really, really strong member of our team.
Yeah, you all were able to overcome that, it seems, and just skyrocketed since then. So it's been amazing to see that hiccup didn't take your team down.
Yeah, I'm glad it didn't.
So you haven't been signed yet as a team. And I know that one of the struggles with being an unsigned team is just competing responsibilities. So I was curious as to how your team kind of deals with the competing responsibilities and what are some of the things that your team has to juggle?
Yeah, so a lot of us either like work or have school too. I know I work, Kat works, Lynne has school. So it can be overwhelming at times trying to, like do what I have to do to survive, and also putting as much time as competing as I can. And because of that, we don't get as much time to compete as all these sign teams do, obviously, but we do try to make sure that the practice we do get is quality practice and we're doing something that is going to benefit us and we're not just kind of like not getting anything from it. So we do try to really dedicate our practice time to very specific things that we want to improve on and that we want to do.
I know that like we all have a really busy schedule. We try to usually schedule our practice between my work and Starlight's work. So most days we're like balancing, our education and work and all these sorts of things, and just finding the right time to be able to just sit down together because we're all in different time zones too. So trying to find a time to just sit together and just focus on what we need to do. So we practice a lot as much as we can. We don't get a lot of sleep or free time, but I know all of our hard work is going to pay off eventually.
Yep.
And add on to that too. We do a lot. For just a free agent team, we spend about 20 to 25 hours a week just anything to do with practice, which is impressive. Knowing that, despite myself, everyone else here does something during the day. They're like either going to work full time, they got school, they're in college, whatever it may be. And again, we're in different time zones, so it makes it much more difficult to set aside that time and work on what we have to do. But we do get it done. We try our best. We really haven't taken a hard break, which actually this week since winning Game Changers, we're finally taking a very much needed break. But we do a lot with our practice, and we definitely do focus on certain aspects of stuff we need to improve upon.
Wow, that is amazing. Just all of that to juggle, let alone the time zones and so many responsibilities, but yet you all have been able to perform quite well in these tournaments. So beating teams like Version 1, XSET, 24 Haven, Complexity, and so you've built yourself up to quite a strong team. What do you think makes your team so successful?
I think like Polaris is more than just like a regular team to me. I feel like everyone's also a really great group of friends. Each of us wants to see each other succeed and like be the best version of ourselves that we can be. Everyone's super supportive and uplifting, and each of us puts in a lot of work every day to just get better. Every player on our team has a lot of talent, dedication, and we each bring something unique to the table.
Yeah, I would also say we're like super successful not only because we're like all really good at the game, but I'd say we all like really trust each other and we all give each other like that trust to make plays together when we know things will work. It's not like we're ever like stressed playing together. We really like we trust each other. I'd say trust for sure, yeah.
And respect each other a lot.
And
yeah.
respect, yeah.
That's definitely the biggest thing, because from my history, that wasn't so much a thing where there was mutual respect. So with this group of girls, the biggest thing, I guess, from that standpoint was just genuinely being respectful to one another and actually able to, bounce ideas back from one another and actually talk about the stuff without being shut down or having these, exterior issues, right? And it does help that everyone here is absolutely cracked. Everyone here definitely has the clutch gene. We all have our individual talents. It really does make us a really strong team because of that. We all have our different, strengths.
Yeah, that's so interesting. And earlier you mentioned that many of you have the ability to call on the team. So how are you able to, well, with the respect that you all have, but how else are you able to juggle kind of having multiple leaders and multiple ideas on the team?
I'd
It's
say
definitely. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say Zoe does a lot of like pre-round IGLing because she's really good at like setting everyone up, and I'm not really good at pre-rounding, so she's really good at that. And Kat also pre-rounds, and then I'd say me and Kat are more of like the mid-round callers.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I feel like because me and Starlight are what we do in the team is like I'm more of like an aggressive person that I'm making those aggressive plays as a duelist. I have to ask my team to set me up for success, and so I can make these plays. So obviously, and Starlight too, because she's a controller. So we we call to our teammates like, hey, could you do this and this for me to like help set us up for success, just based off like something that we see like mid game.
Yeah, everyone having a voice on my team is kind of a staple. If someone's not talking, in my mind, it means they're not confident. I want everyone talking so they are confident. If you have a voice, you're gonna, speak more. I don't know. It just channels your inner confidence. So the more my team talks, if I set them up, okay, they have the rest of the round to themselves, and we play off that, and it works really well because we understand what we're doing. We're on the same wavelength, so there really is no, for the most part, miscommunication, just because we're so tight knit and understand our tendencies.
Wow, that's amazing. And I'm wondering how that plays into what just happened with the Game Changers Academy. So I know that a lot of the teams who play in that tournament are often pug teams. Even your fellow finalists, so Chloe Gaming, were a bunch of cracked players like playing together. So not as much experience with you and your dedicated executes. So I was wondering how were you able to defeat Chloe Gaming, since sometimes even playing against pug teams it makes things difficult with kind of the chaos and the hectic mess that goes on.
I would say just straight up confidence. We don't want to overstrat another team if they're a pug team or not. We stick to what we know and what we're comfortable with, and we make it work because in the past it's worked. That's what we've been practicing. So I think just sticking to our script and what we do best is kind of the reason why we're so successful. And it's that and being able to adapt to how other teams play. Obviously, Chloe Gaming did a lot of, for example, five manning. Like they always just go together as a wolf pack, and they just kind of fly out with flashes and whatever until they throw into the site. And we'd fight that because it's kind of necessary. Playing full retake is not kind of the key to do that. So we're gonna fight that. We're gonna trade out, and that's kind of why it went in our favor. We just did what we practiced. So
Makes sense. And with all of that practice, so you mentioned you're taking a break, but with Game Changers being over, how do you all plan to stay competitive and stay on top of your game?
Well, we're all watching Champions because we're all trying to get new ideas to implement into our own practice when we scrim and stuff. So we all watch Champions. Aim training, obviously.
We also all, sorry to cut you off. We also all grind the game every day. I know I see everyone online. Even though we're taking a break, we're not really taking a break from the game. We're still playing every day. We're still, again, like Starlight said, we're still watching Champions every day, and we're messaging each other in the group chat like, "Oh my god, did you see that strat? Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
We should use that." Or let's VOD review this game. This game is so crazy. Let's VOD review it together so we can like take something out of it and like use it as a team. We try to analyze things. I also watch streams on my off time. I watch a lot of Shazam, Psalms, Asuna. Those are some of my favorite streamers that I watch like at night back, when they were streaming. And I know everyone here like just spends a lot of time on the game, even when we don't practice, we're just spending every free time we have on Kovacs, aim labs, just the game in general, any way to improve ourselves.
Is there anything from Champion so far that has stuck out to you? I know there's been a lot and a lot of upsets, but I'm just curious if there's anything that has stuck out to your team.
For today, I would say it was watching how non-North American teams use their utility so well compared to the North American teams. Like they're so organized and the structure that they have for like the way that they're going to use their utility, it's insane. Like I was watching the X10, I think it was X10 versus NV today just now, which was super, super close. And I'm Southeast Asian myself, so I was really proud to see, two Southeast Asian teams make it. But seeing like how they played split and their comp and everything was just insane. Like how they used the Killjoy ult with the Astro Wall and Hell and stuff.
Cool.
That was insane. That was so cool.
So with Game Changers being kind of the predominant tournament series that you all have competed in, are there any changes or anything you'd like to see different with that series, or maybe even the VCT circuit overall?
I do think eventually it'd be fun to have a LAN, which I think everyone wants a LAN.
Mhm.
But once it's like safe enough, I just think competing, like having that LAN experience and seeing everybody, like seeing all your friends, and like hopefully like once it's safe, we can have like spectators, so it's like a whole like competing. That would be really fun. But yeah, they run it pretty well though for the most part.
Good to hear. And so again, you mentioned you all will be taking a break, but after that break, what's next for you all?
I think obviously the next thing for us would be the upcoming next Game Changers next year. Unsure if it's in January, February, but it's definitely around the corner. So that's something we're going to be, I think, taking a step back and definitely working towards as a whole. Because I know we've played a lot. We've played a lot in the past 2 months in multiple different events. So I think now we can finally just take a break and start just focusing purely on practice. And finally, when time comes to Game Changers, we can finally explode with stuff we worked on and brand new tech and whatnot. So we do have that kind of upper edge too, because there is a lot of odds of us out there playing and a lot of our strats that we have already, you know.
Yeah, so we need some new material now.
Yeah.
That's the next thing.
Well, hopefully Champions is giving you plenty of ideas to kind of make that next step. Is there anything that anyone would like to say, any plugs you'd like to make, or anything you'd like to say to your fans?
Everyone who supports us, thank you so much for believing in us, like we believe in like us. And we will not disappoint. We are going to keep getting better. We all have the same common goal of being the very best we can be and being the best. So yeah, hashtag I'm Polaris.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. That's all for our interview today. Make sure you check Polaris out, and make sure you also check out our site for rib.gg for Run It Back, and follow all of our socials so that you can stay up to date on the Game Changers scene, and look out for more amazing interviews like this on our YouTube channels. So thanks for watching, and catch you later.